States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of the school committee members.
Mr. Ferranti.
Here.
Ms. Cravellisi.
Here.
Mrs. Rizzo.
Here.
Mrs. Snella.
Here.
Ms. Ty.
Here.
Ms. Visconti.
Here.
Mr. Visconti, sorry. Mayor Arrigo.
Here. We will begin tonight's meeting with recognition, and I will hand it over to school committee member Michael Ferranti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a tradition on the school committee that an outgoing member, we do give them a little gift, a token of appreciation. And at this point, Gerry Visconti, who has decided to leave us to go to the city council on his own choice, we wish him well. I just want to read the inscription of the clock. It says, Gerry Visconti, in appreciation for all your dedicated service as a member of the Revere School Committee 2017-2019. Just a few words, very few, that even though he was only here 2 years, he really helped out a lot. He did a lot of good things for us. And like I said, I wish him nothing but the best in the city council.
Thank you, Mr. Ferranti. Any other members? Ms. Ty.
Yes. Well, it's been my pleasure to sit beside Gerry Visconti for these 2 years. I think he has brought a unique talent to the school committee, mostly because he's the father of 4 children. So he knows what it's like to be a parent in the Revere Public Schools. And he has used that always for the better, always working to make things just the best way to deal with every problem. And he's articulate. He understands things about budget that, frankly, Gerry, as you know, I don't sometimes understand and need an explanation from him. And he's just been a really wonderful member. And I consider that the 2 years has been enriched by your presence, Gerry. And he's also very funny. And so he's not only enriched us with his presence, but he's made his presence much more pleasurable for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ty. Any other members? Mrs. Rizzo. Here we go. Gerry, you got some, like a shield or anything?
To my very, 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 very best friends, I do not know who I will haunt. I'm sure I'll find someone coming in, or maybe even sitting at this table now. But I do appreciate something. I'll think about it, but no, it was nice working with you. Sometimes I can understand why you did want to leave, and it wasn't because of me. But I really do hope that you do enjoy your time on city council, and I know since it's at large, I know I can aggravate you that way too and complain about my area. But for the most part, I think you will be a positive change on that council, and I do sincerely wish you the very best of luck, and we will miss you.
She almost got through it with a straight face, but.
Let's not push it.
Ms. Cravellisi.
Gerry, I just want to wish you the best of luck. I'm sure you'll do great on City Council. I look forward to working with you in the future because we will still be working together as we go forward with the new high school. So we will be seeing you.
Mr. Sinella.
Gerry, I worked reversal. I was on the council. I came to the school committee, so I know as a training ground that you'll be well representing your constituency. You're willing to compromise. You're willing to do your homework, and it shows. And they're fortunate enough to have you with your leadership qualities, and I'm sure in the future we'll be hearing bigger and better things about you. Best of luck.
Thank you. Gerry, I'll say a few words, and then you can, if you'd like to make any comments. It's been a pleasure to work with you as somebody who has children in the district and kind of has his finger on the pulse of what's happening in the schools. I thought you always brought a unique perspective to what we do up here, and really appreciate everything that you've done and the voice that you had. And look forward to working with you on the council. I know, I agree, somebody said it, I think it was Sue, or Stacy, that your perspective on the council will be great for the city, and you will definitely help us move forward on the high school, and I know you'll be a strong advocate for that. So thank you for your service, and thank you for the time and energy that you put into making our community a better place.
I guess, if I may, I'd first like to say thank you to my colleagues. It's really been a privilege to actually work and sit on the school committee. And while we have not always agreed, okay, we have disagreed respectfully and professionally. And that's what made it easy to work with everyone. I'd like to thank Dr. Kelly, Dr. Mokaba, Dr. Vidala, Dr. Garcia, the teachers, the staff, for everything they do to make this school district one of the best in the area. And like you said, I look forward to continuing that work and bringing a new high school to fruition and to Revere. So I want to say thank you. And finally, I want to say thank you to the residents of Revere that elected me onto the school committee and has elected me onto the city council. I'm honored, and while I'm going to miss being here, I look forward to representing the people on the city council. So I wanted to say thank you again. Thank you, everyone. This is touching. Thank you.
Here's the kindness. This is it. This is the last time I do this.
Stace, can I have that? No, I want you in the picture, Stace.
Could we please? Are we? Well, I want to take a picture of all this. Right here. Right. Yep. Good. One, two, three. Okay. Thanks.
All right, the next item on our agenda is the superintendent's report. Dr. Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're going to begin the superintendent's report tonight with a presentation from some students and staff from our Garfield Middle School. And I don't know, if Mr. Paczynski, if you want to come up and say a couple of words first. I know that Santiago, Kayliana, Maddie, and Abel are going to be presenting to us. So do you want to frame their presentation? Yep, the one that looks like a mouth. There you go.
All right, well, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Dr. Kelly, school committee members. I'm very proud to be with a number of my students, being Kayliana, Maddie, Santiago, and Abel, who are here to present about Sandy Hook Promise, as well as the Start With Hello program. I'm not going to speak too much because they've been very hard at work putting this together, and I feel they're probably a little bit nervous, so why don't you guys come on up, if I can invite them up, and to begin the presentation.
Hi, my name is Madison Giordano. I am here with my classmates representing the student government at Garfield Middle School. Today we are here to talk about a very serious organization called Sandy Hook Promise, which includes Start With Hello. One of the big things at Garfield is respect, responsibility, and relationships. Sandy Hook mainly focuses on relationships. As many of you know, on December 14th, 2012, a school shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary occurred. This was a very tragic incident and many people lost their children, Mark Barden included. Since Mark Barden lost his child, he wanted something to come out of it, so he and other parents started the program Start With Hello. This program explains what kids and adults can do to make sure violent, tragic acts against children won't happen.
Well, yeah, so I can, it's all.
People say that, I feel like it makes it like more difficult to think about. Like when teachers and like principals say it's never gonna happen, like it's never gonna happen here, because I feel like there's always a chance that it will happen here. So I don't like when people say that, I feel like it makes it like more difficult to like think about. When people say it's not gonna happen, when like it has happened in other schools, other places.
It's scary when there's a school shooter and you don't know what to do, especially for your young people. It's never happened here that I know of, but it just feels scary. It's a lot of pressure. It feel like something could easily end. I think that the more people who buy guns, it's the more likely that you're going to fall into somebody else's hands who might not like use the protection and stuff.
I think it's so important. I remember middle school, it's a really great time, and it's a really horrible time, right? Just know that, like, no one can take the power away from you, okay? You've got, everybody's got something to offer this world. You've got beauty and skill, all sorts of stuff in each and every one of you. And sometimes it takes us a while to appreciate that in one another, but you've got a head start on that, and that's going to serve you well.
After the visit from Mara Healy, the Attorney General, and Mark Barden, we knew we need to strengthen our schools.
Hi, I'm Santiago Gil, and one of the things that we learned were that we need stronger gun laws. We need to make it harder for people to get a hold of guns, not only in Massachusetts, but all across the country, so terrible events like the one at Sandy Hook Elementary don't ever happen again.
Hi, my name's Keilana Rodriguez. Saying hi to someone other than your friends may let them know you acknowledge and recognize them. Just by starting with hello makes a difference. Simply asking someone how's their day can make an impact. Look and remember how I said their, them, and someone, meaning not just minors or students at our school, but also adults and elderlies. So how can you reach out and make everyone feel comfortable? On November 22nd, 2019, Start With Hello came to Garfield and taught us how important just a little hello is. You might think saying hello doesn't make a difference, but it makes a huge one. By saying hello to someone who is sitting alone tells them you notice them and you see them. By saying, hey, want to come sit with us at lunch, you are telling that person you want to be friends and hang out. All of these things help prevent shootings and tragedies that have happened at schools. Many shootings are out of anger or loneliness. By recognizing someone who's sitting alone, you make that person happy inside and prevent a lot. Even by giving someone a little gentle smile or wave, you make that person feel acknowledged. School shootings are very serious and need to be stopped. When the Sandy Hook program came to our school, they talked about 3 important things. When you see someone alone, they talked about how to recognize the signs of loneliness and social isolation. They talked about how to reach out and help, what students can do to help others feel included. They also talked about how to start with hello, how to break the ice and strike up a conversation.
Some suggestions that we were given were sitting with someone who's alone, inviting people to do things with like you, reaching out on social media to them, leaving handwritten notes to people, and finally, do small gestures. Believe it or not, small gesture can go a long way. What can your school do? Some suggestions that was given was No One Eat Alone Day. This event will help students that feel isolated.
More events we can do are Get to Know Me Day, where you wear an item or a photo that represents you. We can also do Mixed Grade Social, where students meet and interact with each other. Another thing we can do is reaching out scavenger hunt. You write something down. You write something down that's about you on 3 cards, and you share it with someone else, or you start a contest with it. The last thing we could do is Heyday. Heyday will start during the advisory. Everyone will get a name tag and put it on their clothing where it's noticeable, so the counselor, the teachers, and the students can say hi to you by your name.
As it shows from this email from our own student body at Garfield Middle School, that the Start With Hello program is inspiring and empowering students that are not even in great activities such as Power of No and student government.
So, as the student government of Garfield Middle School, we will start the Save Promise Club, Students Against Violence Everywhere. Some ways to do this are by counselors to classrooms, which is when counselors go to our advisories and give each class a team-building activity which would strengthen the relationships between the students.
Get to Know Me Scavenger Hunt. As I said in the previous slide, Get to Know Me Scavenger Hunt is based on and is about interacting and introducing yourself to other people.
Another way that this could be done is by weekly greeters. These are kids and adults from the building who would go down in the morning, and when they enter, they're given a warm welcome and a hello, which can make some of the children feel recognized and happy.
Increased student involvement. Increased student involvement is key to building relationships with other students and staff. If we build relationships, we know we have someone to talk to and trust, so we won't do something to endanger our fellow classmates, staff, and faculty.
Us, as students, like the student government, could have early student announcements. The more student involvement, the better.
Decorating all lockers. Decorating all the lockers is about showing students that not only that they are amazing, but they can be and show incredible things. We will be writing and drawing important information on the lockers, like inspiration quotes or beautiful drawings.
One of the last things we can do is have school-wide projects. These will be important because we build positive and strong relationships with everyone and create a safe and strong community.
Say Something Week. Say Something Week will occur March 2nd to March 6th of the year 2020. The Garfield School will be participating with other schools nationwide.
By doing the Start With Hello, we learn how to prevent terrible accidents from happening, and we learn how to make our school more inclusive by using the Gator Code of respect, responsibility, and relationships. Thank you.
Any committee members have any questions, comments? Ms. Scavalisi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You mentioned the Save Promise Club. Is that something that will be getting started soon, or have you already started it?
It's something that will start soon.
Great. This school year, or maybe in the fall?
Yep, so the Save Promise Club is part of the Sandy Hook Promise, and it's part of Start With Hello. And that is something that, again, I should have, when doing the introduction, that we have 4 members of our student government, as well as their facilitator, Ms. Shepard, here. And it's something that the Save Promise Club can stand alone, but we as a school have decided that is best suited inside the student government. It'll be completely student-run, student-driven, and it's really to provide voices for our student body.
Thank you.
Any other members? Ms. Tai.
So who decorates the lockers? Does each child decorate his or her own locker? Or what if somebody says, no, I don't want mine decorated?
It is an option for them to decorate their own locker, but we were hoping that not just one individual locker will be painted, but they all would. Like, we'll have one big word, like, spread across all the lockers.
Good idea. Yeah, very good idea. Mm-hmm. And have you picked out the word yet?
No.
you thinking of any in particular?
Probably start with relationships.
We'll
Well,
start with one of the words
relationships?
in our Gator code.
Yeah. Good, very good idea, too. And what about saying something? To whom are you going to say something?
Start like saying something to your friends or to people you don't know, mostly. So start building relationships with people you don't know, who you don't like. Since you don't talk with them, you might not know how much you have in common.
Is that a hard thing to do?
Sometimes, but
Sometimes uncomfortable? Well, not for the four of you, I'm sure. No. You set a wonderful example. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ty. Any other? Mrs. Rizzo?
I can't wait to show up for Get to Know Me Day or even March 2nd for Say Something. But what I do want to say is the week after Maura Haley came to your school, she addressed the school committees all over Massachusetts at a luncheon. And she was talking about the Sandy Hook Promise, and then she started talking about a group of students that she was working with the week before, and the wonderful ideas and how they had a head start with the power and skills. And then she brought up Garfield Middle School, and I was just like, ooh, that's us, that's us. So, yeah. So everyone throughout Massachusetts heard what a great job you guys are doing, and we look forward to seeing more from each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
thank you.
I just want to say that to follow up on that, I had the honor of sitting in on that meeting with the Attorney General, and afterwards, she was so impressed with Revere, and it's, obviously she's bragging about us to the entire state, but she grabbed me afterwards and said, this is a special place. So congratulations to you guys. Continue to do great work, and we appreciate it, and good luck.
Thank you. We will.
Dr. Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next item on the superintendent's report is a presentation from Lincoln School about our early warning indicator system. And Dr. Garcia has actually led this work throughout the district. He's been meeting with school teams at every school and looking at indicators that we get from the state that identify certain pupils who might need a little bit more support. And then the building teams have taken that work and taken that data and turned it into action plans to actually help kids come out of that warning level and move into a place where we're sure that we have built the scaffolds around them that they need in order to be successful. So I'll first toss it to Dr. Garcia, and then our two coaches, Sandra Chesna and Sarah Hartnett from the Lincoln School. Are you two going to speak, Sarah and Mo, as well? Or just? All right, so I will recognize also here for support our Principal Humis and Assistant Principal Mr. Coyle. So Dr. Garcia, if you want to start.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. I'm here tonight because of the work that has taken place in all schools within the district. This is something that I have done, have been doing since last year, over the last, I would say, 1 year and a half. And it's been very grateful for me to really learn about what's going on in the schools and also use the data that is published by the Department of Education every year. There's a report that the Department of Education generates every year. In that report, you have all student data. You have the MCAS results, you have the attendance results, You got the status of the students, you got the demographics, and you can clearly see who's falling through the cracks. So kids were not making progress. What I do basically, I take the data, I clean it up, and I organize the report to all, and I send it to all the principals. And after that, I, along with the director, the Title I director, Mr. Mogaveri and others, we go into every individual schools. We sit down with the principals and their teams, and we talk about the achievements for the year. Kids who are not passing. And we promote a type of conversation dialogue, which is supposed to be a meaningful one. And then based on that, they put their own teams together and they take it to the next step. I have to say that all schools have been doing that. It's a great work because it's a personalized environment where principals, assistant principals, the coaches, they get together, and that's the type of team work that you want to see in every school. They delve into the data, they look what's going on, and then basically they put an action plan together on how to address students who are not making progress. It's been a very gratifying work for me. And tonight, I have the Lincoln School that has been done a tremendous work. I've been in that school, for I would say several times, and I've seen this team in action. And I cannot think, enough about the school. The data, the performance data, have gone up this year. Whether it's the MCAS achievement data, the growth, and also the attendance. So that's the reason why I invited the two coaches today, and they've been accompanied by the principal and the assistant principals. It's been really a joy and being very, I would say gratifying to see the work, the dynamics that's going on in that school. So they're here to present tonight. Thank you for coming.
Mayor Arrigo, Dr. Kelly, School Committee, we would like to thank you for inviting us here to share our experience at the Lincoln School with EWIS. We have to say that it's due to the dedication and hard work of the teachers at the Lincoln School that we are able to have successful data meetings that result in change that benefits all students. My name is Sandra Chesna. I'm the math coach at the Lincoln School. And
My name is Sarah Hartnett, and I'm the literacy coach at the Lincoln School.
Tonight, we will briefly summarize two data meetings that really had an impact on us as coaches. But first, I cannot move forward without sharing some of our successes on the 2019 MCAS assessment. I won't read word for word there, but if you take a look at the first set of bullets, you will notice that in all of our subgroups, most of the students in academic achievement either exceeded or met targets. In particular, if you take a look at math, the first bullet, 8 out of 8 subgroups all exceeded their targets. Another point that I want to showcase is the chronic absenteeism. There was a 33% decrease in the chronic absenteeism rate for the all-student subgroup, and that's fantastic. We have to thank our assistant principal, Mr. Coyle, for his hard work with absenteeism. And we decreased from a rate of 12.6 in 2018 to 7.9 in 2019. And for this year, trimester 1, we only had 3 students exceeding the absent limit. And I think that's a record for us. It's great work.
So something that we stress at the Lincoln School is that MCAS is not just a 3 through 5 assessment, but that it's a whole school assessment, so that it's important for all teachers to be involved in this process. So we've always looked at data as an entire school, but with MCAS 2.0, they gave us some more information to share. Last year, Dr. Garcia came with us with the EWIS data. It was only discussed as a team of, a data team, which is the administration and the coaches, and did do information with that, but it wasn't as shared as much with the teachers. We did analyze with the teachers. This year, we analyzed it as a team with Dr. Garcia, but then we brought it to our teachers and had them more involved as we understood the data more. We also did analyzing and just a deep dive with teachers on MCAS with grades K through 5, which was very different. And our essential questions with those teachers was, how will the 2019 MCAS data inform my instruction for my current students in grades K through 5? So the way that we look at the data is the data was actually given to us as coaches at a coach meeting by our directors. We had the opportunity there to analyze our data and analyze it with another school, so we could kind of see where we fall and challenges and successes that we've had, and we can share with them, which is the best piece in Revere. We then brought it back to our school. We looked at the subgroups, including the ELL students, the special education students, looking at those pictures, then brought it to looking at the classroom level data, and then looking at individual student data to make decisions about that. So it's all looked on at multiple pieces.
So as part of the data meetings, we asked our K-2 teachers to look at some MCAS ELA and math release questions and think about the standards and skills they teach at their grade level and to see how they relate to the questions that were on the MCAS assessment. So on the left-hand side, I have 3 release questions, math questions, that I shared with the teachers. The first one is a question about shapes, and we asked the K1 and 2 teachers to think about how this relates to what they teach. And all 3 grade levels said, yes, definitely this relates to what I teach, and we think that our students at that grade level could probably answer this 3rd grade question. So kids as young as kindergarten are analyzing and comparing shapes. So this question is just asking them which is not a rectangle. The next question is on place value. It's a 4th grade question, and again, we asked the teachers in all 3 grade levels, K1 and 2, said that yes, our students know about place value. And we can trace back to kindergarten where students are working on those foundational pieces for place value. For example, if they talk about teen numbers, they think about the number 14 as 10 ones and some more ones. Then in 1st grade, those 10 ones now become a unit, and the unit is called tens. So they learn about ones and tens now, and then in 2nd grade, they add the hundreds place. So all that foundational work in the early grades really relates and correlates to what they do in the older grades. And then lastly, this question, last question on the left is the question, again, it's a 3rd grade question. It's a question that the kids are asked to look at the question mark and what number goes in there. They're not asked to really to solve anything, but they're asked to just what number fits where the question mark is. And our 1st grade students are doing this type of work with true and false equations. So there's definitely a link to what's happening in the younger grades, and same thing with ELA.
So same with the ELA questions. That first question is asking about what event would happen next and taking data. That's something that in kindergarten you're asking students, what would happen next in the story? So the story might become more complex, but you're still asking the same type of questions. Same thing with the second question is a 5th grade question, but it's asking, again, use what you know about characters, settings, and events. Again, information that we start talking about in kindergarten, and it's helpful for even our K1, 2 teachers to know the pieces that you're building, those blocks are helping for the older grades, and that would continue up through the high school test. So it's nice that all teachers feel connected to what's going to happen for their students in 3, 4, and 5.
Just quickly going back to question number 1, the question was which quadrilateral is not a rectangle on there. So the vocabulary piece may, for maybe a kindergarten, be a little challenging, but they learn words like quadrilateral, and they learn the names of the shapes, so they're able to do something like this. So moving on to the EWIS data, we decided that we were going to work with 4th and 5th grade and share the EWIS data with them. And we were hoping for 2 outcomes. One is that the teachers would demonstrate an understanding of what EWIS is, and 2, be able to look at the EWIS data and identify their students that need additional support so that those students can reach academic goals. Our essential question for the work that we did during those meetings were, how can I use the early warning system data in my classroom to effectively personalize instruction to meet the needs of all students? Dr. Garcia talked about the indicators. So there are many indicators that we look at, but for our work with the teachers, we chose the indicators that we really could have an impact on and we can control. We can't control if a student moves out of this district or moves back in, but we can have some impact on the attendance rate, on special ed services that we provide, on how they did on the access testing or on ELA MCAS or Math MCAS, and then it also gives us some information about what level they were at the previous year on EWIS. Also, we talked about the early warning risk levels with teachers, and this was all new information and new to us, and really striking some of the things that we learned. First of all, the first identifier is students that are low risk. And what that means is that it's telling you that about 90% of the students who are at low risk will meet their academic milestones. So 90% of the kids will meet their milestones. So low risk, we want low risk students. Moderate risk, so if you're a moderate risk student, you're about at, I think it was 60% of those students will meet their academic milestones. But it really jumps. For high-risk students, only 25% of those students are going to meet those milestones. And the Department of Ed provided a couple of examples that I want to share with you because we were very shocked at them, but also encouraged by our thoughts. One was an example where a 7th grade student who was identified as high risk. If that student is identified as high risk, the student is at high risk not to pass courses in 9th grade. So shocking that that could happen. But on the other hand, we thought about it and said, well, here we know this information in 7th grade. So we have all of 7th grade to put some supports in place. We have all of 8th grade to put some supports in place. So there is time to work with these students. Another example was a moderate risk student in 2nd grade. So we get this data early enough in the year. If a student's moderate risk, there's a moderate risk that that student will not meet or exceed the 3rd grade ELA MCAS. But again, we have all of 2nd grade and we have all 3/4 of 3rd grade to really work with these students and pull them out of this high-risk category. So after introducing what EWIS is and talking about it, a couple of things we wanted to leave with the teachers. One is that EWIS is a tool, and it's a tool to help support targeted interventions and support for the kids that they teach. It is not a reason to label kids or a life sentence for a student, because a student this year in the data that we were looking at could be high risk, but next year that could change. It could come in at moderate risk. So it's not you're high risk now in 3rd grade, you're going to remain high risk. That is not how this system works. So we wanted to make sure that teachers knew that. Don't label the kids. It's not a life sentence. We can make changes and do something to help these students. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Hartnett, and she's going to dig a little deeper with the data and what we shared with teachers.
So this is just a snapshot of one of the reports that we gave teachers. So we took the data that Dr. Garcia had given us, and then we simplified it to give teachers the data that we felt that they actually could be actionable about. We felt that some of the data is not necessary for a teacher to see. But this is all the pieces that they can be actionable about. We gave teachers some time to digest the information. When we looked at the data, there were students on there that we had not identified before. We identify students as needing Title I services, as being a special ed student, as being an ELL student. We've made all those, but still this report pulled up a few extra students that we had not identified before. Last year, right when we got the data, we made sure that those students were getting additional support from the teacher and getting additional support within our WIM block, where we provide interventions specifically for the needs of the students. So just from this report, we were able to make instructional decisions about what students need, but we thought it was really important for this report to be in teachers' hands so that they had some extra awareness of some of our students. So the next piece that we did that we thought would be really important is we compared the MCAS data with our current assessments, which is the 5-district partnership assessment that we give. We give that assessment 3 times a year in ELA, math, and science. At this point, we only had ELA and math data. So what we did is we compared because MCAS is taken at the end of, so this was 3rd grade and 4th grade, but then we compared how they're currently doing in the classroom so that teachers could see, are these students making additional progress from where they were at the end of last year, or is the student still struggling and I need to put in additional supports for that student? This is something that we're going to continue doing with the other 5DP data. The district is actually creating a platform using Google Analytics to pull all of that data together for us. So it's going to pull the MCAS data, and we're hoping to pull the 5DP data, and then other data with it. For ELA, we do the DIBELS, which is a fluency assessment. We also have Achieve, which gives us our Lexile levels. So what we're looking to do as a district is take all of those together. So we, instead of looking at a snapshot here, we get a picture of our students and a real profile of what they need for instructional in the classroom. So this was the next piece that we gave teachers, and then talked about the next steps of what we could do for those students. So our next step is, as a faculty, we will continuously refine our interventions for our high-need students using all available assessments. So continuously to watch these students, not just the classroom teachers, but the support staff as well, our reading interventionists, ELL teachers, they're all included in these meetings as well. The EWIS data does come to us for grades 1 through 5, so we can even have predictors of how our students going to do as low as 1st grade. So we'll continue to share that information and track those students. We're actually as concerned with our low and moderate risk students because we want to keep them where they are. It's one piece that we have found that 3rd graders seem to do a little bit better on MCAS, and then they have a harder time jumping into the 4th grade and into the 5th grade. So if a kid does well and they're identified as low risk, we want to keep tracking them throughout the year to make sure that they are still that they're still able to make the progress so that they do as well on, let's say, the 4th grade and 5th grade MCAS, so that we can track those students and make sure. So it's not just watching the high-risk kids. We don't want anyone slipping either. So we'll be watching the low-risk and moderate-risk students as well. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share with you the work being done at the Lincoln School, and we'd be happy to speak further about this topic if you had any questions.
Thank you. Any members have any questions, comments? Ms. Chai?
Not a question. I mean, you answered any question I might even have thought that I thought of. So it was a wonderful presentation, really wonderful. And I think it's great for the audience out there to see what hard work that we do in the Revere Public Schools. That, and you certainly are both representations of smart, caring, and devoted teachers. And I thank you for presenting to us today. Thank you.
I have to say that we are just two of the, representing the whole building, starting from our leaders and the teachers, because if it wasn't really for the teachers, we would not be successful during our data meetings. You have to see them in action. And it's K through 5 who look at test data and prepare action plans so that they can put something in place to support the students who didn't score as well as others. And they're amazing at their data analysis. So shout out to the teachers.
Actually, you're all amazing. You really are. From the top down, you're all amazing. It's wonderful to watch the progress. Thank you.
Any other members? Mrs. Rizzo?
Just out of curiosity, how often do you get to meet as a group to go over the data and discuss it?
So we actually, as coaches, we meet with our administration once a week. So we will bring with them, so some of the other programs that we're using that have data consistently are Achieve and Lexia and some of those. So we have that data all the time. Now that we also have PLGs, I have it once a week as ELA coach, and Sandra has it once as math coach. So we're always bringing the data up to them because it's most important to keep it live for teachers. And one of our goals this year is that it's not just talking about MCAS at the beginning of the year when it's sent out, but continuously bringing it up through the 5DP. So when we do have the 5DP, which is 3 times a year, there's more of a formal data meeting to do that as well. Yes, they're taken on Mastery Connect.
Any other members? No?
just want to make a comment. I just want to thank the leaderships of the school for supporting teachers, supporting the coaches, because it's clearly seen that the work, the tremendous work that's going on there. You can clearly see the rigor that's embedded in this presentation, and just following what those two coaches are saying, stating, it's just amazing, the work that's taking place at Lincoln. And I would say also in many other schools. So I just want to thank you for your work and continue to make a difference in the lives of our kids.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Mrs. Rizzo.
I just want to say congratulations. I mean, our schools do wonderful work, but I have to say, as soon as MCAS came out, I just saw such great things coming out of Lincoln School, and great work, great teamwork, too. Thanks.
Thank you. Dr. Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The last item on the superintendent's report is really just an informational piece that I wanted to share with the community. And this is not something that's entirely solid just yet, but we have been, for a number of years, working with the Harvard Graduate School of Education, and they've had teachers come in, as the committee knows, and do some different research projects at the high school and at Garfield Middle School and other places. And one of the things that's come out of that relationship is a conversation about doctoral students at Harvard who have to do residency for 1 year in a school district before they can earn their doctorate. And it's something that's been cost prohibitive to us for the last number of years. They do require that the resident be paid a salary and that benefits be provided. It's about a $70,000 a year package, and that's something that we just weren't able to afford. But the Harvard Graduate School of Education has actually decided to fund that for us in the hopes that one of their graduate students will be able to have a placement in Revere. And that comes out of what they've described as a really positive environment in the school district, in some place that they think will serve their students well. So we're really excited for the opportunity. We won't know until really late January or early February if that partnership is going to work out. But we're in the process of conducting interviews with current doctoral students and seeing if we can find a match for work that we need to have done in the district and something that would align with the dissertation areas that those doctoral students are studying. So I just wanted to bring that to the knowledge of our friends and viewers at home. There is a residency overview and a packet that will be included in the school committee minutes. So if anybody wanted to look that up online, they'd be able to find that on the City of Revere website.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Any members have any questions or comments? No? Okay. We'll move on to the student representative report, which we will skip.
Nope, I have one.
Oh, I apologize.
Sorry.
Dr. Kelly,
So
not Siri.
Angel and I were emailing today, and she wanted me to let you know that she recently got a new job, and that her job has been rather inflexible in terms of her ability to leave to come to school committee meetings. We're going to meet either later this week or in January and try to see if between the two of us we can figure out a strategy or a way to work around that. And I'll keep you posted on that. But in the meantime, she has sent me her update, and Angel wanted to let the committee know and the families at home know that the RHS boys basketball team held their first home game against Everett High School last night, and unfortunately did not win. But that's okay. They'll learn from that experience. The girls' basketball team will play against Somerville on December 19th, and that's a home game if anybody's interested in coming up to Revere High School to observe that. The robotics team starts their season officially on January 4th, 2020, so they're looking forward to that start. Many students have started to receive their college acceptances, not college applications. They've been done with those for a bit of time. And we look forward to updating the committee on those as we get closer to the springtime. The Student Senate has been working to make cultural competency conferences. They also made a social media page on Instagram. That's at RHS Student Senate, where they are posting updates. I don't have an Instagram. I guess I'll have to get one. But they're posting updates on the work that the Student Senate at Revere High School has been working on. And the Revere Environmental Voice is working with Mr. Fellows to create an environmentally themed artwork in the cafeteria as part of the beautification initiative at Revere High School. She signs off, "Thank you for providing me with the opportunity. Onward, Angel Mathumba."
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Mrs. Rizzo.
Just a suggestion that, and of course, she does have a busy schedule, but even if there could be an alternative so that we can hear what's going on and to make it easier for her, would be great. And then also, I got to see some of the work that Mr. Fellows and the students were doing. Great work. The bathrooms look really good. They've been working hard. They're going to be doing another set, I think, in January. So they were calling it Revamp RHS. And it's just nice that they see there's so much pride from the students in it. There was one other thing, but my senior mind, Jason Acosta. I have to say, he did such a wonderful job Sunday night at St. Anthony's Philharmonic, help me, orchestra. He does. He, like all our students, they just represent us all very well, and he was sensational, along with the mayor. Thanks.
Any other members?
If I
Mr.
may,
Visconti.
just add to that, while we may have lost to Everett's basketball, we did win. The hockey team did win. Yes, they did win their first game. And me being a hockey dad, I had to mention that. So my son's scoring 1 goal, so that was great too. So his first freshman goal, a high school goal, so proud. Yes, so all good.
Wow, and we got Gerry to speak twice in one meeting. Ms. Gravellisi.
Oh, boy.
Since we're all adding to the student report, Angel did mention that the robotics team will be starting up again in January. I did go to the robotics competition that was last week at the high school, and I have to say I was so impressed and just amazed by what these kids can do. So the teacher did say the next competition, I believe, will be in March here at RHS, so he's going to send out more information for that, and I encourage even the public to come and watch, because these kids were amazing. And these were just the middle school kids. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, team effort on the student representative report.
We're all students at heart.
We got to find out who she's working for and lay down the law, I think. I know. Okay, next item on the agenda is public comment. Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Ms. Gravellisi.
I would like to make a motion to take the donation from Roro to Revere off of the consent calendar and to the floor.
Okay. Okay, we will take, you want to take that up now?
Yes.
We can
Okay.
take that up.
So we'll take up Mr. Visconti.
Okay, we can, there's a motion to accept a $1,500 grant to the Hill School from Roro in Revere for sensory work. Is that? Sensory walk. Sensory walk. I can't, jeez, I can't.
Second.
All right, second. Roll call.
Mr. Ferranti? Yes. Ms. Gravellisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Rizzo?
Yes.
Mr. Sonella?
Yes.
Ms. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Visconti?
Yes.
Mayor Arrigo?
Yes. And I'll just say, obviously, thank you to Row for their great work. And I know there's a number of people who make all of the donations that they provide to the city happen, and we appreciate all the work that they do. So,
Mr. Mayor, if I could just add that they'll be here in January for recognition. You may recall that they were on our agenda, I think, in November, and scheduling conflicts prohibited their attendance, but they'll be here in January, and we can properly thank them then.
Excellent. Right, so we'll take up now the consent calendar with all of the items except for item H, which was the acceptance of donations and gifts. Motion to accept. Second. Roll call.
Mr. Ferranti?
Yes.
Ms. Gravellisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Rizzo?
Yes.
Mr. Sonella?
Yes.
Ms. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Visconti?
Yes.
Mayor Arena?
Yes. We'll move on to the report of subcommittees. Any subcommittee reports? No. Any old business? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. Mr. Visconti?
We have another motion to approve the Revere High School cheerleading squad overnight field trip to Orlando, Florida, to advance to the Nationals. So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Ferranti?
Yes.
Ms. Gravellisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Rizzo?
Yes.
Mr. Sonella?
Yes.
Ms. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Visconti?
Yes.
Mayor Arena?
Yes. Okay. Move on to school committee interests. Any members? Ms. Ty?
I'd like to give a shout out to the Revere Journal for both the content and the quality of their editorials, but I was particularly taken by the one from last week where they talked about how there are so many unfortunate people in our community and that we should remember those. And I just wanted to answer that I have seen in the last few weeks so much, and I almost hate to call it charity work. It's the work that comes from the heart and the soul of the people who do it. For example, for one of our food banks, the AFSCME folks collected money and gave a check to help put out Christmas meals. I've seen in the Coats for Kids drive where a whole group of people, I can name only a few, but particularly Patrick Keefe and Matt Palante, who did organize that whole thing. And so we're talking about, that these kids, that they're not going to let them go alone. If they didn't get enough coats to meet everyone's need, they also had a collection so that they could go out, and they are spending their time shopping for them too. The collection of toys, so everybody in the administration throughout all the schools is working toward assigning, making sure that the child who needs a toy gets the toy that he or she wants. And people are working every day to do this and contributing money. And I think it's a wonderful thing, and it really makes me proud. This is a true community. It's a community where people know each other, respect each other, and I venture to say love each other. Maybe we don't always like each other sometimes, but we do love each other. And it shows in our actions. And I have been very, very proud to attend so many of the events and to be able to do it. And we know that it takes all of us. So thank you to all of us. Thank you to the Journal for recognizing what we need to do. I don't know as we needed a reminder anyway, but it's nice to see it in print. And thanks to all. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Ms. Ty. Any other
Chairman?
members? Mr. Sinella?
Along the same note, just to make reference of Christmas concert Ms. Rizzo alluded to, the quality and quantity of foodstuffs that were brought by the patrons was just overwhelming. It's the best I have ever seen. The magnitude and the joy, it was really a pleasure to see that people do care and a night's entertainment was had by all, but it was for the Revere Food Pantry, and it was really well received. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Sinella. I actually was talking to Bob Mara today about it, and I think they had over 200 boxes of food, close to 300
The
boxes.
interesting aspect on the amount of boxes that was, the gentleman who takes care of the candles was out sick, so a lot of the boxes got thrown away, so they were packed solid.
Right.
So I would venture to guess in years gone by, 200 could have very easily been 300, 350. I mean, people came with full cartons of pasta that the store would open and put on their shelves, 20 in a carton, and then it was just overwhelming.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful entertainment, too.
43 years and counting.
Any other members? Okay, seeing none. We're on to motions. Anyone?
There was a motion that was withdrawn prior to the school committee meeting.
Is there a second? Who's making the motion?
I move that we remove this from the calendar.
Okay, so
There a
motion
second?
to remove from the calendar. Second?
I think it requires a roll call.
There's no discussion, no second.
No one seconded your motion.
Oh, you want to leave it on?
Wait a minute, I have a question.
Ms. Franti?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Diane, you sent us the rescind request, okay? Is this request just for this meeting, or is it going forward? Because I'm not really sure what the request is. And I think we need really to define what rescind, what is she rescind? Is it just today, or is it going to come back in 3 months to us? I won't know what it's for.
So all I can tell you is that when Ellie got her notice of her retirement pieces and was upset, a lot of people talked to her about what possibilities were available. And one was that the city file a home rule petition on her behalf. And our investigation into that process revealed that it first needed a vote of this body. She has rescinded her request that we explore that opportunity. Yeah. I mean, I can't predict the future. I have no idea.
I mean,
So motion to place on file the home rule petition on behalf of Ms. Ellie Collar.
no.
No, as in no.
I want to take the motion
Do
up.
we have a,
I don't want to table it.
okay, we're going to place it on file, but.
Yeah, but placing it on file doesn't mean it dies because of side 9 tonight, or?
It would
No,
die,
it's-
yeah, of course.
All right,
And
No,
all
it doesn't.
business after tonight's
Today
meeting is
dies.
done.
So if you place it on file, it dies.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
He just said it does.
Yeah, we already had communication with Ashley. It does not just die here. It
Well-
comes back up.
Well,
in-
he
in
just said
2
it died. I'm
months.
just going by what he said, that's
I'm
all.
going by city clerk. And it does not die.
So we have to vote on rescinding it first,
There's
and
n-
then bring up.
Well, no, there was no second for the motion of rescinding, so we
And
would bring
there's
this
no
one up.
second for it to be placed on file, so.
The motion has to be read.
Motion read.
Okay. Okay, so the motion on the floor is the home rule petition on behalf of Ms. Ellie Collar, which has been withdrawn, but we'll vote on it anyway. So, do I have a
Second?
I
sec?
don't think there's an
Se-
actual motion written.
It's on the agenda and it was posted.
Right, but so when she withdrew it, I didn't bother writing wording for a motion.
But this was on before she rescinded it.
I don't know what the motion is.
It's right here,
So-
home rule petition on behalf of Ellie Carr.
Right.
What does it say about it? It doesn't say what to do with it.
Well, doesn't it have to be voted on? The
Yeah.
motion does have to be voted on.
It was put on, I'm sorry, I don't want to overstep, but this was put on and placed
Last month.
last week. She just did this yesterday, So this is how it was reading no matter what. So, I mean, that's what the motion states. It's the same motion that's been made for 2 months and more. So I know, I personally would like to vote on the motion that's on the agenda.
Well, would you please be specific about the wording of it? What do you want to do with this?
Vote yes or no.
That's what I'm.
You would have to make a,
To
I move to what?
To vote on the home rule petition, right?
Are you moving to submit a home rule petition on Ellie's behalf?
No, to vote on
To
whether
vote on what the motion says, to
vote
vote on
on-
the home rule petition.
whether we submit it.
Whether it goes to the next step or it stops here, it's one or the other.
Right, oh, okay.
Really?
So somebody has to come up with that wording and say what that is gonna be. So in my mind, a logical thing would be motion to either submit a petition on, or motion to not submit
To not submit, right.
a home rule petition on behalf
No,
of Ellie Fowler.
you have to make a motion to vote on, and then you can either vote for it or
Against it.
So you're making a motion to submit.
Yeah, right. So there's a motion on the floor to submit a home rule petition on behalf of Ms. Ellie Collar.
That's what
Who
this
made
motion.
that motion?
That's this.
Made by Michael.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Second, okay. Roll call.
Mr. Ferranti,
No.
Ms. Cravellisi,
No.
Mrs. Rizzo,
No?
Mr. Sinala,
Yes.
Ms. Ty,
Yes.
Mr. Visconti,
No.
Mayor Arrigo.
Yes. The motion does not pass. And
Can I have a point of personal privilege?
Mrs. Rizzo.
I just, for me personally, this is something that shouldn't have been put on our plate. I know it can come up again after the first of the year. I expect to see it again after the first of the year. It can still come up. But although if the motion comes up again, it needs to be written in a much different way. It cannot be similar to the motion that was given now. But what I will say is when we are taking a vote on whether it's expending money or doing programs, we're to be impartial and we're to keep Revere Public Schools and our students at the forefront in any of our decision-making. And
Mr. Mayor, move
for the life of me, I do not understand how some might see this as beneficial to Revere Public Schools.
I think
Thank
we have.
you.
I think we've discussed this enough. Could we move on, please?
Okay. Any other members?
I might want to speak more.
Okay. Seeing none. We'll move on to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn with the understanding that we will be back? The new school committee will be in session January 6th. Motion to adjourn, second.